Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to season 2, episode 1 of season 2 of Let's Get After It. Had a lot of great episodes. Had a ton of fun with season 1, and then racing and all that stuff got in the way, and shows and events. But we're back. Time for a brand new season. Gonna be doing things a little bit different. If you haven't watched season 1, by the way, go back and watch it. A lot of good stuff in there. We try to be pretty educational. We looked at it as kind of like the freshman year of off-road, where this is season 2. So we're going to move on a little bit. We're gonna assume that our very intelligent audience knows some things. Hopefully you guys are smart. Well, you're probably all smarter than I am, and we can move on forward and we can talk about some more technical stuff and some stuff that we weren't able to talk about on season 1. So with that being said, let's get after it. So. Season 2, episode 1, what are we going to talk about? The first idea that jumped out of my head was a question actually I saw on Facebook a while back. We put it on our list. Was, do I get a more complete cheap lift, or do I get a less complete expensive lift? Basically, the idea being from this customer that they had a finite amount of money to spend, and we all do, and they wanted to make sure they were getting the best bang for their buck. That one spoke to me, as I'm sure hopefully you're watching going, yeah, that one talks to me, especially for those of you who haven't lifted yet, which is what this is for. Do I get a kit that has more components? If you go back to season 1, we talked about componentry. It was very important. We talked about control arms, we talked about track bars, we talked about shocks and struts and how to pair them and how not to pair, all that kind of stuff. But then what we never addressed was this. Would you sacrifice quality, R&D, experience, offered a bit? Would you sacrifice that to get a more complete lift? Or would you start with better components but get less of them to have a better base lift kit? Mind blown. And I'm not actually sure how most people would answer this. I don't know that there's a right answer. This one kind of got me stumped. At least off the top of my head, it got me stumped. It doesn't get me stumped if we go back to what we talked about last season when we asked the 4 questions. So if we ask intention of the vehicle, what are you going to do with it? If we ask, what is the budget? Maybe, I've had a lot of people ask me about certain kits and then kind of found out their pricing, it's way off. Like what they thought they were going to spend for A, B, and C was not even close, and I could actually get them X, Y, and Z. And that's not just me. That's basically any shop in general. Outlaw Off-Road's not the only shop out there. I think we are sometimes, but we're definitely not. And there's plenty, probably near you, hopefully near you, that can tell you all this stuff. They can do what I'm doing. They can tell you what I'm telling you. That said, I don't think there's an answer in general. But if you go through the 4 questions, we can answer that question. So how do we answer that question? Let me be general, and then maybe in future episodes we can get, because we don't have, I don't have 30 minutes like a podcast or something to answer that question. If you are a customer, or a person, maybe you're not a customer, maybe you're just a general person, that is going to be using your vehicle where your biggest adventure is not only did I go to Target, but I got Starbucks while I was at Target. If that's your biggest adventure, hey, more power to you. I'm generally not going to tell you to get a more expensive lift that gives you less componentry. You would be fine for a kit that maybe has more components. Why do I say that? You're not going to be putting a kit that is a lesser quality company, lesser quality parts, lesser quality joints, whatever. You're not going to be putting that product through enough of a stress to where you're probably not going to see that part fail. You are not going to be murdering joints. You are not going to be putting shocks in overheating situations at speed in the desert on rock. You're not going to be doing that. You're going to be going to the carpool line at school and picking up the Starbucks, and that's fine. There's times that's all I do. I have a vehicle, but that's all it does. That's fine. But understand what you are. Understand who you are, what kind of customer you are. And unless you're willing to just, if you're just a customer that's got all the money and you're just going to spend money on big stuff no matter what you do, I'm not talking to you, okay? I'll talk to you in another episode. But for this one, I'm talking to somebody who's got a budget. They've got a number. They've got 1,000. They've got 1,500. They've got 2,000. How am I going to maximize and get the most? So if you are somebody who is never going to see off-road, and I mean never, like you have no, like a scratch on your paint is a mortal sin. Like that's the kind of person you are. That part of the industry is getting bigger and bigger. Sorry, wheeling people and all you rock crazies. That part of the industry is what allows us rock crazies to do what we do, because without those people buying Jeeps, buying Broncos, buying 4Runners, and buying parts from these companies, we would not be able to go do what we do. These companies would not exist. So remember that when you start talking about mall crawlers. Without a large portion of mall crawlers, a lot of these companies don't make enough money to pay the bills to give us our cool rock guy stuff, okay? Or rock girl stuff. That's just what it is. So understand it, know it, and if you hate mall crawlers, keep it to yourself. It just is what it is. So if that's what you're gonna be, if you're gonna pound pavement all day and all night, and you're never gonna see dirt, you're never gonna see grime, you're never gonna see rocks, then brand is not as important to you. I'm not gonna say it's not important, but it's not as important. Now we're talking about things like ride quality. What do we gotta do for ride quality? Not necessarily for axle centering, articulation. We're looking at different things now. Different things matter, and it may be where you can drop down a little bit in quality. I'm not advocating cheap stuff, right? But I'm talking to the person who has a budget. I'm trying to get you what you want for the budget. I understand there's guys out there that are yelling at me right now, yelling at the screen. You should get the good stuff and you should just build on it as you can. Okay, fine. Not everybody can. So not everybody can do that. Some people, you know, it's a kid in college and mom and dad said you got X amount of dollars and then you are on your own. So I'm not going to berate somebody because they don't have $5,000 to spend on a lift kit or 10 grand, or tell them that, you know, I can start you here at 1,000 or 15, but just know you're going to spend another 1,000 or 15 down the road. Do we have those kind of customers? Is the market full of those kind of customers? Absolutely, 100%. Is the market full of people who don't have a budget and want to come and spend $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 on a lift kit? Absolutely, 100%. But is it also full of people who say, you know, I bought this vehicle, I'm going to put X amount of dollars into it. Doesn't matter if that's all I can put into it or not. That's what I'm going to put into it, because maybe they have other priorities. Maybe they like traveling more than they like I don't know, maybe they're cruise people and they want to go on cruises more than they want to go to Moab. I don't know, more power to you, whatever. But for whatever reason, they've got a number in their head. And how do we keep them in that number? How do we keep them at that number? That's how we do it. We talk about what are you going to use it for. Now, if you're going to go off-road, you're going to be a weekend warrior, you're going to go hit some trails, and you tell me, well, down the road, I want to go to Moab. Down the road, I want to run 40s. And I'm going to look at you totally different. I'm going to take that money as an initial investment. That 1,000 or that 1,500, that 2,000 be initial investment. I'll tell you that's what it is. And we're going to say, look, we can spend this money now. I'm going to get you somewhat capable, but just know that this is where this is where I think you need to be by the time you go hit Pritchett Canyon, right? That's what we're going to have. So those two conversations are two totally different people, but those two totally different people may have the same budget for whatever reason. And then if that person does say there's a third one that nobody wants to talk about, what if that rock crazy wants to come at me and say they have a budget, it's a one-time budget, and they want to go rock crawling? Well, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell them, look, I can't make you a buggy. I'm not going to make you an Ultra 4 race car, but I can take that and get you as best as I can. And I'm just going to be upfront with them. And that's all any of us in the industry can do, is just be upfront with you from the get-go and be clear and say, look, this is what we can do, this is what we can't do. You know, I'm not against people, salespeople going, well, I can do this, but for a little bit more, we can do that. And it's the nature of sales, right? And it's reverse negotiation, right? It's like when you list something for 10 grand at Marketplace, we all know you're going to take 75. Come on, okay? We know you're never going to not list it at 10, but we also know you're always going to take $7,000 to $8,000 for it. It's just what we know, right? At least before COVID, we knew it with cars. Okay, your vehicle's listed at 60 grand. We know you're going to take 55, right? Same thing sometimes with budgets. Okay, you tell me you got 1,000. I could probably, if I show you a valid reason, and it needs to make sense. If I show you a valid reason to spend 1,200, you're probably going to do it. Maybe not. Maybe you have a hard and fast number, but generally speaking, and that's our job as salespeople, our job as shops, to identify those needs, identify those budgets, and then educate the customer. So hopefully that was a little bit clear to you, basically just kind of based on the situation, other than somebody in some random Facebook group telling you what it is. Like, oh, you just got to spend more money. Well, not necessarily. Or, well, you should just, I went and got this Rough Country X whatever kit, whatever the one with all their arms are on the Jeeps. I can't remember what it is. And that's what you should get. I'm not going to tell you that. Notice I didn't mention brands of what you should get here. I didn't tell you how many arms you should get. I'm not going to do that because it's very, very specific. It's very, very particular to your situation, to your budget, and all that good stuff that we've always talked about back in season 1. Now we're just doing it a little bit differently in season 2. So that's what I'm going to end episode 1, season 2, episode 1, S2E1. There we go. We'll do it like Netflix and Amazon Prime style. That's where we're at. Cheap full or expensive less. Just educate yourselves. Talk to people who know what they're talking about. If you're near an outlaw offer, you just want to talk to us, you want to buy from us, whatever, we ship nationwide, hit us up. We'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. theoutlawoffroad.com. You can find your local outlaw off-road near you through that website. You can get quotes on the website. You can do all that kind of stuff. But if you're not in that area or you got a shop that you use locally, go talk to them. If you got a number in mind, don't be ashamed to put it out there. Don't think that we're just trying to get a number from you so we can max it out. I mean, sometimes we are going to max it out. It's absolutely true, 100%. But I've had numerous times where somebody's told me a number and I haven't had to use all of that number to give them what they want. Sometimes we spend it on other things. Sometimes it just stays in their pocketbook and they go buy Happy Meals. It's whatever. So just keep that in mind. As always, educate yourselves, ask questions, find the right people to answer your questions, and don't go to every Joe Blow on every daggone Facebook group because that just doesn't work. So that's how we're going to leave it. We got after it a little bit today. We do have a couple more episodes coming up. And we also are, as you see me right here, right now, we're doing some podcasts, some longer format stuff. We got some cool interviews coming up. So check that out on wherever you get podcasts. We're going to be putting some of it up on YouTube. It's on Apple Podcasts. We got that coming out. So follow us, like, subscribe, all the good stuff so you know when more of these videos come out. We've got them coming out every week from here until as many as I can get done before race season picks up. As many as I can get done. If that's 10, 11, 12, 13, however many, you got an idea, hit me up, let me know. Be more than happy to get you guys the information you want, when you want it, how you want it, and just kind of give you guys the real lowdown on all things off-road. So until next time, hope you guys learned something today. And yeah, that's it. We'll check you out on the next episode.